What's up, guys? Overlord back here. This is going to be the It review that has all the spoilers in there. So if you haven't seen the movie, don't watch this part. Watch the original review I did, my initial reaction. Then definitely go check out the movie for yourself. And if after you feel the same that I do, let me know if you feel differently. Let's discuss it, because I like having discussions, about movies and things like that, and seeing people's points of view about things. So first off, we're gonna get into kind of how it opened. You see the losers all together. Kind of how at the end where they're right together before they kind of like split off. Either for, I don't know, it kind of felt like they're all going their separate ways. Kind of. Bev was talking about moving in with her aunt or whatever, and it kind of felt like they're all separating. But later on in the movie, it kind of seems like they were together longer for that summer, but you really can't tell. Anyway, it starts off with Bev telling them about seeing them all again, like seeing her like in the vision that she had while she was in the deadlight, seeing them older, their parents' age. And that I think it was Bill asks, how does he look? And she said, handsome or whatever it was. And then Stan asked the same thing, what about him? And she hesitantly says, the same but taller. But you kind of see in her eyes that she's lying, which if you never saw the miniseries or read the book, that Stan doesn't come back as far as making it back to Derry. But I guess technically she could have seen him still older, but whatever. It kind of starts off the same way that the book does, which I can say that I read some of the book. It's a long read, so it's hard to get through sometimes. But it kind of starts off where there's some gay bashing. There's a couple guys who beat up a couple of gay guys, and they throw one off of a bridge. And then Pennywise ends up getting him out of the water and eating him. But then there's a whole trial afterwards, and I'm really glad that they didn't put that trial into the movie. It was kind of long and boring, but whatever. But we see Mike, has been listening in, and hears the call about the murder, or a dismembered body, and it kind of jumps to action and sees that everything's going on. I'm not gonna lie, the kid deaths in this movie were harder than the first one to watch, because from what I remember, you don't really see George get his arm bitten off from the first movie, but this one you see a couple kids bite it, and I was just it was hard. It's kind of hard to watch, especially the second one, or the little boy in the mirror seat in the House of Mirrors. That was really hard to watch. Yeah. For me, there was parts where there's just too much comedy, too much fan service. The first one, it was funny, it had jokes in there, and a lot of the jokes that are here are well placed, but some of them just feel like it's going forever. I feel like Eddie Casper's character, I feel like the cussing was too intentional, like he tried too hard to fit every F-bomb he could in there at every time, whatever. And it's just it was too much. The jump scares also really didn't do it for me. I'm not really a person that flinches or jumps, when stuff comes up, you kind of tell when it happens. So I kind of anticipate for it anyway. But a lot of the jump scares over the top or really comical, and it took away from the movie for me. It didn't really help the movie as much as I hoped it would. With the first one, the reveals of the kid coming down the stairs, and then Pennywise, being behind Ben, or the lady with the crooked face, those were kind of those were good. Those were well placed, and they kind of helped with the story a little bit, kind of feeding into their fears. But all of these ones were just Like it kind of felt like The Conjuring 2 for me. Like they had weird like I said jump scares that just made you focus on that. Like why would they choose to do that? Yeah, it's kind of it kind of took away from the movie for me. You know what else knows there was like only people really like at the town fair and the drugstore, and it was really only like Mr. King and his daughter really. And it's like almost nobody else really in the town that I can remember. And I just watched the movie. Like they walked down the street a couple of times at different times of day, and there is nobody in the streets. And I'm from like a little town, so like there's usually somebody there, and I've seen small towns like I got in other places where there's usually like one or two people, either whether they're like sweeping the sidewalk or whatever in front of the business or something, a door being open. We see a lot of cars and we see them walking a lot of places for some reason instead of just like driving to the spot. They're like walking through town, and it's like for no reason other than like a scenery shot. But also the whole clubhouse thing, it was I don't know, I felt like it was put in there for almost no reason. Like I get it, you had to find Stan's little had to find Stan's totem and everything, but I mean other than that, I mean it was just like they put it there for no reason. Also like the fight between, or not even really a fight, it's just like the almost Pokemon battle-esque stabbing between Eddie and Bowers was just like the anticlimactic. Like it was just there to be there. Like it didn't. I feel like it didn't really forward too much of it. Like even though this Bowers did more in this movie than the miniseries, I felt like the miniseries Bowers felt like more of a threat. Especially since like the way that he stabs Mike in the miniseries, and then like just him getting stabbed in the chest, and this one just like pulling out and waving and walking away. It's just like, what, really? Like I get that you're crazy, but like Mike Myers this thing and not have no effect. He like ran afterwards. Like you're running, like your blood's gonna be pumping hard. You're gonna be like bleeding a lot. You should pass out pretty soon from the stab wound, but it didn't really happen. I also kind of felt like the ending with the miniseries was better for me because, making Pennywise feel small in this one, to where like he became like this little shriveled up nothing, and then like gently removing his heart, and then all coming together and crushing it. I'd rather like it be like him revealing his final form, his true form, what he actually is, and then everybody coming through and like overpowering him, knocking him over, ripping his heart out, and crushing it. I felt like that was better. Like watching the lights go out in the first one, was satisfying, but this one was just like it felt like it felt like killing Gage, I guess, in the original Pet Sematary, where it's just like he dies, but you almost kind of feel sorry that he dies, but he's evil, but he's small and childlike, so it didn't do much for me. There were a lot of things that were done that I felt in the miniseries came out better. The threat of Audra being there, Bill's wife, Bowers, the way they killed Pennywise. It's just a lot of things came off better in the miniseries than it did in this movie. There was also some things in the movie that came off a little better. Visuals, obviously definitely one. It was visually stunning at times, but it was pretty much. And I don't know if it's just like, I mean, the story was, it's pretty much the same, but the story was done a little better. So at some points, like I said, they actually showed more in this than they would have in the miniseries. I guess what I was really looking for is just like a movie version of the miniseries, to where like they may actually do stuff that they couldn't show on TV back in the day, and kind of going from there instead of it being a great first half and the second half being kind of like almost felt like a parody of itself in a way. Just too much at some points, to where it kind of like completely took away from it, to where I really wasn't that interested in it. But it did have a lot of good things that brought a good, feel to this movie. Stan Lee's letter at the end was bring closure, and it helped them, move forward. I did like Stephen King's little cameo. The beginning of it, him asking him multiple things of what he wanted in the store, it was like, okay, this is going on far enough. But I mean, other than that, it was fine. I also thought, Eddie literally marrying a woman exactly like his mom was hilarious. The part in the arcade where Richie's trying to get Bauer's cousin to play the game along with him, it was whatever. It is what it is. But I wouldn't say it was like 100% needed. The whole thing with Mike, finding out about the lore with Pennywise, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't read a lot of the book. It's a long read, so I didn't get through a lot of it actually. But so I don't know if that part about them having to like try to seal him away and then that not working was even in the book. But I guess at times it was so slow that when they had to go collect the totems, I completely forgot about them even doing that part. Like it got to so much where it's like, oh yeah, they're trying to like collect stuff to do a ritual with, because I feel like it was the miniseries did better in the way that they all came to town separately, before they like met up, and that they had all these memories come back and they explored places and they saw things and were like, oh now I remember what happened here, or I remember this, I remember that. Like I get it, they had to go off individually, get a totem in a place that like had memory to them, and that's why they didn't do that. That's why they waited for the part where they split off to go to give them like their backstories or whatever, or things that happened. But I don't know, it like I said, it was too slow for me to where like I almost forgot completely what was going on. I just kind of lost interest. Also with Beverly and her dad, like I said, didn't get far in the books. I don't know how much of actual physical and sexual abuse was actually done in the book. As far as the miniseries, he was just kind of overbearing. Didn't really want her to do much. Like he felt like he had to protect her because she was a girl and all stuff like that, or like too like overprotective. And then this one, there was like kind of like hints of like sexual abuse, whatever. But then in the chapter 2 part, it's like that really wasn't the same. There's a part where like he's like Beverly's dad's like comparing her to her mom, saying it's her fault that she did what she did, but you don't really know what she did. Doesn't really tell what she did. Like, I don't know if she like killed herself. He said she got sick. I don't know if she like got mentally sick or physically sick. And he said it was because of Beverly. But it's like, well, what happened? It doesn't ever explain. And then like when he's about to like do something that like you think he's about to like attack her in any kind of way, he like sprays perfume everywhere and kind of like sniffs the mom's scarf, and he's like, I can still smell her perfume. And then like he has the perfume, so it's like, I mean, if you wanted to smell it, you can just spray the perfume like you're gonna do 2 seconds from after saying this, And there's parts where she's like tucking him down. That's like, I get it, there's like Stockholm syndrome stuff like that, where you start to sympathize with your captors, whatever. You kind of feel for them, love them, and I guess even when it's your parent, it's harder to do so. But is there ever like you never really? It's only ever hinted at sexual abuse. It's never like nothing said about it, So you never really know if that's what it is or if not. And even like her memories of her dad don't really have him out to be like the monster that we either wanted or thought he was. I don't know. It's just, there was just a lot of things that kind of stuck out, and didn't really finish well for me. These are my opinions. This is what I thought, what I felt from the movie after watching it. let me know what you think. Definitely comment and all that stuff like that, and discuss with me. I have a discussion about, maybe those who did read the book might have, a better way of, or be able to tell me a little better what certain parts meant, or things, or what happened there, and might be able to translate a little bit better. Other than that, it's your boy, the Overlord, and I'm out. Peace.